Ooh, what's up, nerds and geeks? My name is OMG WTF LOL FTWBRB. Welcome back to more Total Extreme Wrestling 2016. We are playing as the WWF in the year 2001, running Monday Night Raw tonight, and we are booking the invasion angle. Some of you may be wondering why we're not on the screen where it says run the show. There's really no reason. I accidentally pressed yes instead of record. So that's why we're here. No reason at all. I would like to apologize, though, for how long it's taken for this video to get up. I feel like I apologize for this all the time, but well, when you fail to meet your deadlines, you need to apologize, I guess. As you all know by now, I'd hope, I try to get these up on the days they're supposed to, so of course Monday Night Raw should be on a Monday, but some of you may know, in case you keep up to date with my Twitter, Facebook, or any streaming whatsoever on the Twitch over there. Last week, I was extremely busy with I didn't have a day off from Tuesday last week all the way up to Monday this week. And a lot of them were night shifts, so most of the time I was just either, very unmotivated to book, or I was just too tired to book. So that is why this will get late. Of course, life gets in the way sometimes with my wrestling training and work. Sometimes I can't affect it. But either way, it is up, and they always will go up, so don't you guys get worried about that. We start off the night with a poor pre-show match, Nerds and Geeks, with the team with great chemistry of Big Boss Man and Perry Saturn, which doesn't have a name yet. They will here shortly, because I do have plans for them. In all honesty, I should probably just make them a team so they're gaining chemistry, but I'm stupid like that. They go on to defeat Too Cool, Rikishi, and Scotty 2 Hotty. Some of you may be wondering why I just didn't get Grandmaster Sexay in this match. Well, because I haven't booked Rikishi in a very long time, so I figured let's get him on the card. In 7 minutes, 47 seconds, when Perry Saturn goes over Scotty with the flying elbow drop. Of course, Scotty was the weak link, struggling to keep up with everyone else's in-ring performance. This did get a solid 60 rating here with a solid C, so you can't complain too much here. That's a pretty good rating. It's average, but it's good still. Bossman Saturn, as I mentioned before, they have great chemistry. I'm sure we all know that by now. Scotty with a 45, Rikishi with a 58, Perry Saturn with the best in-ring performance of a 60, and Bossman 1 point behind Rikishi with a 57. No worker improvements as we move on to our next match that gets a 72 B- in a pre-show match or bout that had decent wrestling, but not much weighing heat. Lord Steven Regal and WCW's Power Plant, the number one contenders to the WCW Tag Team Champions, I should add, go over ECW's Sabu and the WCW Tag Team Champions Los Guerreros in 12 minutes, 5 seconds when Mark Jindrak defeats Sabu with the mark of perfection. So not the Power Plant bomb. Beat him by himself. Shawn Stasiak was really off his game tonight. Come on, Stasiak, what is that? But either way here, Sabu with an in-ring performance of a 57. Chavo Guerrero with a 52. Eddie Guerrero with a 73, the best in the match, which doesn't surprise me. Shawn Stasiak with a 56, so 1 point behind Sabu and not too far off from Chavo. That is something I am definitely paying attention to, just saying. There's a reason why he's the one that always loses. And Mark Jindrak with a in-ring performance of a 61, and Lord Regal just 1 point behind Eddie Guerrero, bringing the second best performance of the match tonight, or in this match I should say, with a 72 rating. Lord Regal is improving in performance skills, as is Chavo Guerrero, and Shawn Stasiak is improving in technical. So not too bad. We then move on to our main event of the pre-show, Nerds and Geeks, which gets a 76 B-, kind of just a treat for the Canadian crowd tonight, because we are in Toronto. No, excuse me, we're in Ontario. Toronto's just, I believe, a city, province. I don't know what they call them in Canada, to be honest. I'm sure some of you will enlighten me on that. Either way, we're in Ontario tonight. Either way, a little treat for the Canadian crowd, I should say, of having two former tag team partners, the Thrill Seekers, Lance Storm and Chris Jericho, probably put on a great match. Apparently they only put on a 76 B- of a match, but that's okay. We have a pre-show bout here that has great wrestling and good heat to it. Chris Jericho goes over the WCW Canadian Champion. Of course, title was not on the line. In 15 minutes, 29 seconds with the Walls of Jericho. Lance Storm with a 79 and Jericho with a 90. No worker improvements. As we move on to open up the show, but I'm going to take a drink before we go on and do that. And we open up to a solid A rating here, Nerds and Geeks, with a 94. I'll be honest. I did not think Kanyon and Hugh Morris, even with the help of Stone Cold Steve Austin, would be able to get a solid A rating. That just proves how freaking great Stone Cold is, because I don't think this would have done that well, but I could have been wrong. Either way, though, solid A rating, I'm super satisfied with that. Monday Night Raw opens with the number one contenders to the WWF Tag Team Champions already in the ring, that being Kanyon and Hugh Morris, of course. And Kanyon goes on to take the mic and he says, "Austin! Hey, Austin! Last week I called you out, but you passed me up to give it up to your protege. But as we saw last week, my buddy Hugh here took care of our little rhino problem. But I've still got a rattlesnake to take care of. And you may have passed me by last week, oh Austin, but not this week. Stone Cold, get your ass out here and fight me. Or do you have yet another excuse to dodge me?" That's when Stone Cold Steve Austin's music hits after a couple of seconds, or minutes, whatever you want to consider. Pass by, and out comes the WWF Tag Team Champions, of course, Austin along with Rhino. And Austin takes the mic and stands at the entryway and he says, "Kanyon, I did you a favor last week. 'Cause let's be real." This is not my Austin voice, hold on. "I'd be wasting my damn time facing you in the ring, even if it only takes me 5 seconds. And what happened last week was a fluke. Yeah. But technically you still won the match. Fluke. So what if he got the 3 count? He caught Rhino off guard. That's all." And then Kanyon goes, we have quite a lot of things to cover here, but we'll get to that in a second. And that's all it's going to take is 3 seconds at Survivor Series, and then the WWF's new tag team champions will be Kanyon and Hugh Morris. Just like all it will take is 3 seconds to beat you tonight. So get in here and fight me, Austin. And then Austin replies, You really want to do this?" He then takes off his vest, he hands it over to Rhino, and he says, "Here, hold my vest, Rhino." "Alright, you stupid son bitch. You want old Stone Cold to put you in early retirement? Then it's your career, kid." He tosses the mic behind him, makes a beeline to the ring, Nerds and Geeks, enters the ring, and him and Kanyon just go right into brawling as we get into our first match of the night, opening up with Austin versus Kanyon. But like I said, we had quite a lot of things here to cover, so I'm going to go ahead and do this. We had some backstage incidents, or not backstage incidents, but some things happen during, when I wasn't recording Sunday Night Heat because we had a decision I didn't want to show you guys, which I'm glad I didn't because it would have spoiled a big debut coming up here. So either way, I did hire some people for developmental, as we've talked about before. We hired Ricky Banderas. I sent him down to OVW, because let's be honest, even though NWA is the best promotion, OVW and HWA still need some talent. So I sent Ricky to OVW. We hired Chad Coiler, who was already working for HWA, so we kept him down there. BJ Whitmer, and no, not Blowjob Whitmer, just BJ Whitmer. We also hired him and sent him to HWA because I believe he has a job there. Matt Cross, who I believe some of you may know as Son of Havoc from Lucha Underground. We sent him to NWA, the only superstar to get sent to NWA, because I feel like he fits the style down there. We also hired the alpha male, Monty Brown, very underrated talent back in the day. Or he wasn't underrated because a lot of people thought highly of him. It's just WWE didn't do shit with him. We sent him to OVW. Also, we had a couple of incidents happen here. Taz and Val Venus were both on steroids. We suspended them both, which sucks for good old Right to Censor, but that's not too bad. If we have something we really want to do with the Right to Censor, we'll just have Richard take this place. And luckily for us, Jim Cornette can easily take Taz's place on the announce table on Heat, so nothing really to worry about. And it's Heat, so I'm not really worried about it either. Interesting enough here, though, when we suspended Taz, nothing happened. But Val Venus' behavior did improve after we suspended him, but now he has simmering tension with us, so most likely when Val Venus' contract is up, he will not be getting renewed because he most likely won't sign with us because he doesn't like me anymore. Also, Diamond Dallas Page, he appeared on national TV, apparently last night, whatever. He was helping promote not only the WWF, but he did a fine job representing both the company and wrestling in general overall. So good for Diamond Dallas Page there. And then we also had a couple locker room incidents before the show. Jack Doan, who is a referee, I believe he's actually our best referee too. He was brought to the wrestler's courtroom after being accused of not picking up his tab at the bar. Judge Rock found him guilty, sentenced him to buy the locker room drinks, and this improved Jack Doan's behavior. Also, Lita, the WWF Women's Champion, was brought to wrestler's court after she was accused of skipping out on a night with the boys, or girls, whatever. Judge Rock indeed found her guilty as well and sentenced her to buy everyone drinks as well. So, drinks on Jack and Lita tonight, everybody. Lita's behavior improved because of this as well, too. So, good on that. As we move on here. So, not only did this get it off to a strong start, but I got the crowd hotter. Austin was fantastic, gained them heat. Probably going to lose them heat in the next match here, but that's fine. No, nothing. As we get into a solid B rating here, Nerds and Geeks, with a 77, and about that had great wrestling and a good heat to it. Stone Cold Steve Austin indeed goes over Chris Kanyon. Kanyon couldn't pull up the upset victory in 9 minutes, 43 seconds with the Stone Cold Stunner. What this isn't showing here, though, is that I had some things going on here. So this was our Wild Brawl match of the night, which, that's okay. Both of them are great at brawling, so I'm not worried about that either. In fact, I'm sure if we go to the dirt sheet, it'll say they are both well suited to the style of match. Yep. But like I said, we look at the Road Agent report here, or the Road Agent notes. Not only did this match end cheaply, which shouldn't have ended cheaply, it should have been tainted, but whatever, that's my bad. But we had a couple of distractions here, mainly throughout the match. I'd imagine Kanyon looking good, maybe even getting ready to hit the flatliner on Stone Cold, and that's when Rhino takes things in his own hand, sees an opportunity, and hits the gore on Hugh Morris on the outside of the ring. Of course, this distracts Kanyon because, Rhino just gored his tag team partner and his buddy. He turns his attention away for 1 second, leading to Austin getting to hit him with the Stone Cold Stunner to pick up the victory over Chris Kanyon. So a little bit of a distraction here for Kanyon to help him look good. Austin pulling out the best performance tonight with a 100, leaving no room for flaws. Kanyon, on the other hand, with a 71 in-ring performance, not too shabby. No in-ring no worker improvements, I should say. As we move on to our next segment, which gets another solid A rating. Stone Cold, stop. Stop. Another solid A rating here, Nerds and Geeks, with a 92 rating. After the match, Austin calls Rhino into the ring, and the mentor and the protege start beginning to beat down on Kanyon. Of course, Kanyon still, it's not Kanyon, excuse me, Morris, still laid out on the outside from the gore. So Austin and Rhino look to take advantage of this moment and begin to beat down on Chris Kanyon before lifting him up and, maybe not lifting him up, but waiting for him to get up as they're getting ready to hit the Stone Cold Stunner gore combo as Austin, he hits the stunner, and then after he hits the stunner while they're still standing, Rhino hits a gore. But before we can even see any of that, as we see Rhino, he's waiting in the corner. That's when Hugh Morris, who apparently is back up now, he grabs and pulls Rhino out of the ring before tossing him right into the steel steps, taking him out momentarily, and he slides right back in the ring, going after Austin. Of course, this is Hugh Morris, so him and Austin are kind of brawling, but Austin's got the main advantage here. But that allows Chris Kanyon to finally get back up, and then he and Morris begin to just brawl with Austin alone as Rhino's out in the back. And now we have Hugh Morris and Kanyon beating down on Stone Cold Steve Austin before they hit him with their new tag team finisher, a powerbomb / neckbreaker combo, which is something Kanyon used to do back when he was a part of the Flock, when he was known as Mortis. So it was either that or I was going to do him and DDP's finisher, which was like I think a neckbreaker, something else. There's like a neckbreaker and something else combo. But either way, Hugh Morris, one of his signature moves has always been a powerbomb, so I figure, well, he's done a powerbomb, it would make sense to do that. So Kanyon and Hugh Morris' new tag team finisher will be the powerbomb neckbreaker combo, and then they stand over the fallen tag team champions. Of course, Rhino's still on the outside, so they're not standing over him. And Kanyon and Hugh Morris both hold up the WWF tag team titles, signaling that there could be new champions this Sunday. Hugh Morris looked dreadful, which is unfortunate, but it did get the crowd hotter, and Austin came out looking excellent, and it gained them some heat, so I can't complain. These segments did a lot better than I thought they would have. As we move on to our next segment, which gets a 79 solid B rating here, it's just a announcement / hype segment, whatever you want to call it. JR and King announced that later on tonight, we will see the continuations of War Games as Ric Flair will team up with the Giant to battle Rob Van Dam and Albert. And then later on tonight, for the first time ever, the Brothers of Destruction, the Undertaker and Kane, battle Scott Steiner and Rick Steiner, the Steiner brothers, in our main event. So pretty much just hyping up 2 tag team matches here tonight. Of course, with Tess being out, I can't have all the members, so one of the members are going to have to sit out. That was chosen to be Chris Benoit. Because I'll be honest, I'm still kind of punishing Chris Benoit. Because even though he didn't come up dirty in that next thing, we're still gonna punish him. He's still getting suffer, Kind of. As we move on to our next segment, which, to my surprise, gets an 87 B+. Good on you guys. We're back from our commercial break. The WCW United States Champion's music hits, and out comes Christian as he begins to make his way down to the ring. He is clearly unhappy. Once he's in the ring, he takes the mic and he says, "What's up, Ontario? Man, does it feel good to be home. And not only does it feel good to be home, but it feels good to come home as a champion. And while being a champion totally reeks of awesomeness, I'll tell you what doesn't. Your own brother, who can't get over his own insecurities, his own shortcomings, his own jealousy, and just be happy that his brother is a champion. No. Edge is and has always been caught up in himself. What do you think? Why do you think the team was always called Edge and Christian? Because his own ego couldn't accept that even something so small that he wasn't first at. And now even when Mr. McMahon had made up his mind for myself and every other champion to face off against a member of the opposing roster, Edge still can't get past his own ego. He had to go on Nitro and challenge Chuck Palumbo, and then take advantage of Chuck's own shortcomings. Well, not me, Edge. Never again will I live in your shadow. Come Survivor Series, I'm going to end this debate once and for all and show everyone that Christian is and always will be better than Edge." And that's when Edge's music hits. "Use my body to keep you alive." Rob Zombie playing over, whatever you want to call it. He makes his way down to the ring to join his brother, and he says, "Christian, that's a load of bull, and you know it. This isn't about my insecurities. This is about yours. You're the one who threw away our brotherhood, our friendship, our partnership. You're the one who cheated me to beat me for that U.S. title. And you couldn't have been any happier when Mr. McMahon made up that rule that got you out of facing me. Or at least you thought it would. Because all you've done is make things harder on yourself. Because when you didn't sign with WCW, you got Chuck Palumbo. And then when I beat Chuck Palumbo on Nitro, you got me. And after Survivor Series, you're going to be beating yourself up when I walk out the new U.S. champion." And then this leads, of course, to Chuck Palumbo's music hitting. And out he comes along with Stacy Keibler. And Chuck says, "All this," yeah, by the way, Chuck's talking, not Stacy. "While this little reunion is cute and all, let's not forget that I'm in this match too. And seeing as you two are out here, I've got a proposition for you. You see, before you two went after each other's throats, you were a top team around here. And well, let's just say I've still got some bent-up frustration that I'd like to get out of my system before Sunday. And since I love to hit you guys, I called a buddy of mine and asked him to join in on the fun. So how about tonight, you two bozos team up one last time and face me and my partner?" And then that's when Edge and, of course, Christian, they exchange looks with each other, and then Edge finally, they kind of get to a little bit of agreement here without saying anything, and Edge goes, "All right, Chucky P, you're on. Who's your partner?" And then that's when Chuck goes, "My partner is an old pal from WCW, pretty much." And then he introduces Scott Vick. Scott Vick is part of our developmental territory. I believe he's like an HWA or something. He's had one match with Raven before and got like a C, so let's see how he does here. He was not rated, so trust me, he did not help get us this A7B plus here. Either way, though, Edge, Christian, and Palumbo's feud gained a little bit of heat. I'm sure they're going to lose it in this match here. Actually not. Every time I say that, they don't. So, there you go. We get a 76 B- Nerds and Geeks, and about that had decent wrestling, but not much weighing heat. Chuck Palumbo and Scott Vick. Yes, it happened. Chuck Palumbo and Scott Vick, Nerds and Geeks, go over Edge and Christian in 10 minutes and 8 seconds when Chuck Palumbo defeats Christian after Edge turned on him. So I'd imagine Christian maybe, beat up in the match looking for a tag, Edge reaching out, and then as Christian gets closer, Edge is just like, you know what? Nah, never mind this. You've done this to me, getting a little bit of revenge on his brother as he walks away from Christian, letting him get a taste of his own medicine, and then that leads to Chuck Palumbo hitting whatever he does on Christian to pick up the pinfall victory and get Scott Vick his first televised victory. It might be his only for a long period of time, unless I call him up anytime soon. He is getting better at his gimmick, though. You can give him that. Edge and Christian, of course, have excellent chemistry, despite not being a team anymore. Edge shown in the match, and then Christian looked excellent, so holy hell almighty, look at this. Christian with a 90 in-ring performance. Calm down, Christian. And Edge, calm down with that 98 in-ring performance. Good Lord, guys. Scott Vick with a 23 and Chuck Palumbo with a 69. So good on you guys there. Palumbo is improving in technical. As we then move on to our next segment, which gets a 100 A-star, nerds and geeks. Hell yes! Backstage, we see Ric Flair and the Giant. They're talking. Presumably, of course, they're game planning for their tag team match coming up tonight against RVD and Albert. And that's when the, air quotes, WCW team captain, Chris Benoit, walks in. He says, Rick! Hey, Paul. And then Rick says, there he is. There's the captain that's going to lead Team WCW to victory this Sunday. And then Benoit replies, yeah, that's me. And speaking of that, that's actually why I'm here. Because you see, as team captain, I can't let you go out there and face off against an ECW wrestler, Rick. Especially at your age. We wouldn't want to risk anything just days away from WCW's biggest match. And Rick goes, what? You're joking, right, Cap? You're really worried about two guys like RVD and Albert hurting me? I'm the Nature Boy. And then Benoit again replies, yeah, I am worried. Is it such a crime to not only care about the fate of your livelihood and your company, but not only that, but your mentor as well? Trust me, Rick. I've been in the ring with this guy, and he's unsafe. I can't let you go out there. So I'll be taking your spot instead. And Rick goes, well, I've got the Giant. He'll be my backup out there. Are you sure? This isn't just about you just wanting to get your vengeance on RVD? Because that's something I can understand and get behind, Cap. And then Benoit he laughs and he says, you've got to be joking. Look here, Rick. RVD's victory over me was a fluke. It has nothing to do with my decision. I've made this decision for the safety of WCW. We can't afford to lose the one guy who's been in one of these matches. And my decision is final. And then that's when Rick looks over and he says, well, all right then. I guess I'll just go get changed then. And then Benoit goes, yeah, good. And all the while, Giant's just sitting there giving Chris Benoit kind of a very pissed off, angry look, like, you're a fucking scumbag, pretty much, dude. And Benoit just looks back and he says, what are you looking at, Paul? Look, I don't need your judgment. I just need your best. So make sure you bring it. And then he walks out as we just found out that it's not going to be Flair and Giant. Benoit's taking his place. He's worried about his age. Benoit did perform poorly, which is unfortunate, but he isn't the best on the microphone, so that's to be expected, despite getting a 100's rating, but I guess that's Ric Flair doing all that work there. And we might have rated Giant off Menace, so that could have been a thing. Ric Flair is getting better at his gimmick, so you can't complain there. As we move on to the match, coming back from commercial break, we get a solid B rating here with an 82, and about that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. Rob Van Dam and Albert, nerds and geeks, that's correct. RVD and Albert going over Chris Benoit and the Giant in 9 minutes 36 seconds when, once again, Rob Van Dam going over Chris Benoit with a frog splash. The 5-star frog splash. Oh, no. No bueno. Hopefully that doesn't keep him out. I don't think it will. We'll get to that in a second, though. RV and Albert, not only first time teaming with each other, I guess this would kind of be Benoit and Giant's first time, unless they've done it in the past, but Benoit and Giant not able to work together, it looks like, or having a little bit of issues, or either that or RVD and Albert just work really well together, or they were just on their game. Either way, it looks like RVD may have Benoit's number as I guess 1/2 of Team WWF wins? I don't know. Half of 5 is 3.5, but you can't have 3.5 wrestlers. So either way, Trish Stratus doing some good work at ringside. The Giant sustained a drummer's elbow, so like I said, hopefully that doesn't keep him out of action, because that would suck just being days away from a freaking main event match like that. Albert with a 73 in-ring performance, RVD with a 67, the Giant with an 88, and Chris Benoit with a 91. Benoit is improving in performance, as is the Giant. And yes, Brooklyn Brawler, I know. Apparently Albert got some backstage heat because it was his mistake that caused Giant to get hurt. That's unfortunate. Something we might have to watch for a little bit. Oh, come on, Albert. We then move on to yet another A-star rating with a 100. Backstage with Michael Cole, and he says, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Cole here, and my guest at this time is the #1 contender to the WCW World Championship, Kurt Angle. Kurt, in just 7 days' time, you have the opportunity to capture WCW's top prize. But as we saw last week on Nitro, Booker T and Shane McMahon have no problem using underhanded tactics to achieve what they want. Kurt then takes the mic. He says, "Oh, there's no denying that that's true. But you see, Michael Cole, just because Booker T and Shane McMahon are sneaky little bastards, that's not going to stop me. No way is it going to stop me. I won these Olympic gold medals with a broken neck, and there's nothing Booker T and Shane McMahon or anyone on the WCW roster who will stop me from getting my gold." And then that's when Rock walks into the shot, and Kurt sees him, and he says, "What do you want?" Rock shoves his hand in Kurt's face, and he says, "Shh. Can't you hear the people are chanting The Rock's name?" And then you have the whole Rocky, Rocky chant. And then Rock says, "Kurt Angle, you know, usually The Rock can't stand you, but The Rock will stand by you. Not because The Rock likes you, but because The Rock respects you. Which is why I come to Nitro this week. The Rock thinks you and I need to go pay Diamond Dallas Punk and Booker Bitch a visit." And then that's when Angle goes, "I like where you're coming from, Rock, and I agree. Let's show WCW what a real invasion looks like." And that ends the promo there, but doesn't end The Rock and Kurt Angle's intentions, because apparently they're going to be on Nitro this week, and they're going to be paying both Diamond Dallas Page and Booker T, or as Rock called him, Diamond Dallas Punk and Booker Bitch, a visit. We'll have to wait till Nitro to see that, though, but hopefully if things go the way I'd like, it'll be up tomorrow. And Rock came out looking excellent, so that's good. Michael Cole improving in acting as well. We then move on to a little match here. Nothing too special. Honestly, a 61C rating here is not too shabby for Dave Swift here. But either way, a bout that had terrible wrestling and non-existent crowd heat. Ron Simmons going over Dave Swift in 2 minutes, 45 seconds with the Dominator, making his 4th defense of the Hardcore Championship. Dave Swift, one of the local talents, borrowed from Ontario here tonight. He was trained by the Heart Dungeon, and to be honest, he had some good skills. I might even shortlist him. Who knows? Either way, though, Ron Simmons really shone in this match, which he should have. He then, I don't know why I said he then, but either way, Ron Simmons with a 74 and Dave Swift with a 12. Good on you, Dave Swift. As we move on to our next segment, which, wow, gets a 96 A-star rating. How, Jim? How? Either way, Ron Simmons takes the mic after the match and he says, "Is this really the best competition Vince McMahon can bring me? Just a bunch of ECW fools and no-name talent? I'm Ron damn Simmons. I'm the damn hardcore champion. I'm the first ever African damn American world champion. There ain't a damn person in the WWF locker room who can beat me. With that being said, who's next? Because as far as I'm concerned, I'm scheduled to defend this title at Survivor Series, and I've yet to be presented with a credible challenger." That's when Mick Foley's music hits, and out comes the WWF commissioner, who says, "Now I know how this looks. And given my track record, I'm sure a lot of you thought that maybe I was stepping up. Well, I'm not. But as the first ever hardcore champion, that damn title means something to me. Which is why I'm out here to announce that at Survivor Series, you, Mr. Simmons, aren't going to be just facing 1 or 2 men. You'll be facing anyone who will step up, because you, Ron Simmons, are going to be defending that title." And I forgot the name of it, but pretty much a hardcore battle royal or something like that. It's like, pretty much anybody can show up. It's like a hardcore gauntlet or something. I think that's where I wanted to go with it. Either way, no real feud here started here. It's just an announcement saying that Ron Simmons is going to defend the hardcore championship, but he's not going to just be defending it in one-on-one action. He'll be defending it against pretty much everybody not in action. So, good luck to Ron Simmons. As we move on to a backstage segment here with a 87B+, and Michael Cole once again backstage. He says, "Ladies and gentlemen, Michael," but before he can continue going on, that's when Scott Steiner comes in. He grabs the mic right from Michael Cole and he says, "Shut up, dork. Undertaker, Kane, I told you 2 punks not to get involved in our business. And tonight, you pay for it. Vinnie Mac, if you're a smart man, you may want to start looking for a couple of replacements." Hold on, I'm trying to charge my or plug my laptop charger in while I'm doing this promo. Alright, there we go. "If you're a smart man, you may want to start looking for a couple of replacements. Because once me and my brother are through with your so-called Brothers of Destruction, you're going to find out what destruction really looks like. It looks a hell of a lot like the big booty daddy and his brother. Come on, Rick. And then I imagine maybe Rick, as he walks by, like does a little like snarl at the camera as we're getting ready for our main event. First time ever, Brothers of Destruction and the Steiner Brothers in tag team action. And we move on to the match, which, I'll be honest, kind of upset with this rating. With a 76 B-, that's upsetting here. Kind of was expecting a better rating, I'm not going to lie. Why did this do? Maybe because of all the interference? That'll be my best bet. Or maybe because it was a draw. Either way. And about that had great wrestling and good heat to it. The Brothers of Destruction and the Steiner Brothers end up drawing with each other after 12 minutes and 52 seconds when the match just descended in chaos. After we had Team WCW, Benoit, Flair, and Giant, and Van Dam and Albert, of course, representing Team WWF, all come rushing out as we just have a big brawl happening right now between all the two teams. But we'll get to that in a second, of course. Rick and Scott have great chemistry when teaming with each other. Kane with an 88, The Undertaker with a 98, Rick Steiner with a 74, and Scott Steiner with a 94. It did lose them heat, though, which still don't know. I hope it's because of that, because that's upsetting. You guys really should have done better. Rick Steiner was the weak link, though, which is unfortunate. As we move on to the next segment, which is going to gain us some heat back to the War Games feud. Ending off Raw with a solid A rating here with a 93. The match is over, but Team WCW and Team WF, they're continuing to brawl. WCW, of course, have the advantage, even though it doesn't show Ric Flair on here, because I wouldn't be even able to have Test on here. I'm only able to do 8 superstars, which is stupid. They should do 10. Either way, Rick is the manager, so that's why we just did it that way. Either way, it's 5v4. WCW's got the advantage over them because they have more men, but Team WF is not backing down. They're continuing to fight, and actually, they end up sending WCW out of the ring. They get the advantage, send them all out one by one, starting with Albert hitting a big boot to send Rick out of the ring, and then eventually all the rest of them, all 4 of the other guys still in the ring, get sent out, finally with the Giant getting Undertaker and Kane are about to choke slam the Giant, him with the double choke slam. But the rest of Team WCW grab the legs of the Giant and pull him out of the ring, saving him from the choke slam, and they retreat. But as they're retreating, Taker grabs the mic and he says, "There you go again, tucking your tails between your legs and running away. But come Sunday, you won't be able to run away. And the dead man, along with the rest of Team WWF, will finally be able to get our hands on you without you cowering away. And once we beat you in the War Games, WCW can finally rest in peace." And that just ends off the Monday Night Raw with Team WF looking strong in the ring while Team WCW retreats. Kane looked good. Giant was good. Taker was good. RE was underwhelming. That's fine. We end off the show to get a 86 B+ rating here. Apparently we use Scott Vick far too much in the show, but that's okay. I don't really care. Not a bad show though. Good on you guys. Although with all those A ratings, I kind of thought maybe we'd get an A. But a B+, I ain't mad about that. It's getting fantastic reviews too. And apparently Hashimoto and Hogan just won a tournament. What tournament was it? The G1 Climax. Let's look at that. Hold on. New Japan. So, Masasaki Moshi, whatever, defeated Katsuyori Shibata in the opening bout with a 64. Super J defeated Tatsushiro Kuroda to retain the NGPW Wrestling Spirit title with a 64. Ten Koji defeated Pain Incorporated with an 83 rating. Hashimoto and Hogan defeated Liger and Hall. Scott Hall and Jushin Thunder Liger, that's a weird team, with an 81 rating. Yuji Nagata and Saito defeated Quick City Kingpins with an 80. Sasaki and Fujinami defeated Scott Norton and Masahiro Chono with an 82. And then we had Hashimoto and Hogan go over Ten Koji with an 86. Nagata and Saito defeated Sasaki and Fujinama with an 81. Don Fry going over Yutaka Yoshi. And then in the main event for the G1 Climax tag titles, or tag league titles, Hashimoto and Hogan going over Nagata and Saito. So good for them. Giant was injured, as we saw right there, but he will work through the pain, so we don't have anything to worry about there. Are they a team now? I guess not. I was thinking maybe Hogan and them were a team. So who is it? Hashimoto? I don't really know who Hashimoto is, and I can't just look up by his name. But I can look up by title history, right? With Shinani, whatever. So he won it with this guy. I could see it. I could see it. Hogan already winning titles. Or I guess that's a tournament, but whatever. Oh, apparently Hashimoto's heading for injury, too. And Vader 1 making a declaration saying he's carrying the WWC. I don't know who he is. As we know, Giant was injured. We can go ahead and check to see how long he'll be injured for. Physical, there you are. It does not tell me, actually. Never mind. I thought maybe it would. We can go to medical to determine that. Scott Steiner says Scotty too hottie doesn't connect with the fans. We should probably write him off. Ron Simmons says Lance Storm doesn't connect with the fans. He has little upside. And Kurt Angle says Mark Jindrak is a star in the making. The kid could make us some serious money. I agree, Kurt. I agree. Other than that, though, Nerds and Geeks, that's going to be the end of this episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, do me a favor. Leave me a comment, like, and subscribe if you have not already. And as always, my name has been OMG, WTF, LOL, FTW, BRB. And I will see you guys for Nitro, which hopefully will be up on Thursday. If not, it'll be up on Friday. It looks like the Giant is going to be out for 6 days, so he might be fully recovered in time for the pay-per-view. Other than that, have a great night, guys.